Welcome everyone to another live stream, casual stream on the live Twitch live feed, and for my YouTube video watch followers as well. Today is going to be another flight down to Mexico. This time we're taking tourists that are interested in going to fish for marlin and sailfish. So we're at Miami here at our resident hub. Again, we're flying for Pacific Airways Virtual, live on the VATSIM system. No controllers are on right now, but as you can see in the background, there are other planes, other players on the system. We'll be flying the MD-80 today. She's an oldie, but a goldie. She's been considered by many real-world pilots as a mad dog. She pretty much does what she wants sometimes. So we're going to give her a little stretch of the wings and head down to Cancun. Flight time will be just about maybe 1 hour 15 minutes. For the YouTube viewers, I will cut it once we get to level flight, and then come back in once we get to our top of descent. So let's not delay anymore, and let's get into the flight deck, and we can get this flight going. As usual, I've done all the flight planning already. I've entered all the flight plans into the FMS, or the flight management system. Fuel has been loaded, and passengers have been loaded as well. So what we can do now is have the ground services pull away, and we'll start closing up the doors, and get this flight on the way. There, we'll close up all the doors. And we're taking 75 passengers down today. Our total gross weight is 149,500 pounds. And that gives us 25.9 center of gravity. So we'll go into the mechanical computer here, and we'll put in we'll set in a CG of 25.9, and then we'll be taking off with flaps 15 today, and then we set the trim based on what the computer gives us. It's how it was done in the day, and there we go, it's all lined up, and I think we're ready to go. So let's just reset my IR, track IR. And we'll get the pushback. So we'll just pre-plan it. We'll show you how it's done.
Ground to cockpit. Plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you are ready.
And we'll call him in one time. Let's just get out of here. So.
Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
Winds are from the south, 190 degrees at 4 knots. So we will do a 27 departure again today, and we'll be on the Manatee 2 departure, RNAV departure, and then that should put us southbound. We'll fly just north over Cuba, Havana, and then down into Cancun at the base of the Yucatan Peninsula. So that's our routing for today. Once we get airborne and we're at level flight, I'll show you the routing on Navigraph.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
We'll put on the flight directors. And since there are no controllers, we'll put our target altitude in to the MCP. runway heading in. Taking off on runway 27.
So connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
So we'll release parking brake when we're ready. So today our speeds are V1134, V rotate 148, and V2 is stim 148. So we will just put 148 plus 10. That's our speed to go. So we check there. Put that into takeoff. And we should be ready to go. We'll be squawking 2000 as we haven't been assigned a squawk code. So we'll just do our pre-startup checklists and flows. And so we're on APU power, APU selected, generator selected. We will now put system Bravo. We'll turn the fuel pumps on. Anti-ice, not required, but we do have anti-fog and anti-ice on the windscreens. Pitot heats are on. Your damper is armed. And we will switch off the air here when we need to start, so we get air pressure down here to turn the engines over. Pressurization is automatic. We'll put in our landing, our height, our landing height, and the local barometer once we get closer to the airport. So let's release the parking brake.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
Miami traffic southeast virtual 209er is sub 3700 at the gate. Ready for pushback. We're going to be departing to the southwest.
Alright, so I think we can now turn the airflow off. Pressure is coming up for engine start. So we'll start with engine 2. Pressure is being provided. And we're looking for rotation on N2. We have rotation on N2. We'll look for oil pressure to come up. And there we have oil pressure. Good. We would want to engage the fuel now above 20%. So here
Operation complete.
comes in the
Set
fuel.
parking brake.
We will be looking for a hot start on the
Disconnecting tow.
AGT.
Stand by.
Rotation on N1. Oil pressure still coming up. Temperature rising. And we have a good start. Starting engine 1. Starter valve is open. Again, we're looking for rotation on N2. We have rotation on N2. We're waiting for the oil pressure to come up.
So is disconnected and bypass bin has been removed. Hand signal on the left. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
And we have a jump in oil pressure. N2 coming up to 21%. And we will introduce the fuel. There we go. Fuel is introduced. We're looking for hot start. Rotation on 1. Oil pressure coming up. Oil temperature coming up. And we have a good start on engine 1. We now turn the ignition, continuous ignition to both. Turn the air back on. APU air off. We can switch the APU off now. What we might want to do is just recycle these. Okay, alright, both generators are working.
Southeast Virtual 209er is going to be taking off runway 27, departure to the southwest.
We still have master cautions. Okay, so that's for the brakes. That's not a problem. We want to bring in our flaps, so we'll put flaps to 15. Sorry about that. Flaps set to 15, and we'll confirm flaps coming down. Okay, flap shows 15. Good. And we will now turn our transponder to TARA. And we'll make our announcement that we will be taxiing to the runway. Miami traffic, Pacific 29556 is pushed back from gate H17. Taxi to runway 27 via Papa. Miami traffic. And so let's go with the landing light on. Do a final check after start checklist, airflow, and we will put this into our takeoff configurement.
Miami traffic Southeast Virtual 209er is now taking off runway 27,
Brakes
departure
off,
southwest.
and we're off. We have an off the block time of 16:10 UTC. That's for the logbook. All the way left, all the way right, all the way down, all the way up. Okay. Flight surfaces check. At this point in time, we can turn the radar on. Miami traffic, Pacific 29556 line up and wait runway 27, Miami traffic. Okay, so we're going onto the runway. So we will put the landing lights in, strobes to come on automatic.
Miami traffic Southeast Virtual 209er, we're encountering a situation and we're going to be remaining in the pattern. Left traffic, we're on left base. Excuse me, left crosswind.
Approaching 27.
Miami traffic.
we will spoilers. So,
on runway 27.
oops. It happens when you start looking down and you keep your foot on the pedal. All right, so let's just line up here a little better. It's a live stream, so we do make mistakes, and we rather that you all, the viewers, see when we do make these mistakes, so that you can learn from them as well. All right, so we'll just tap on the brakes here and make our announcement that we're going to take off. Miami traffic, Pacific 2956 is taking off runway 27. RNAV to grid Manatee departure, so we'll be departing to the south and we'll be climbing to a flight level of 280, Miami traffic. Okay, I think we're ready to go. Final checks, lights on, fuel on, flaps 15, and we're good to go. So let's bring the power up. Stable.
Stabilizer. 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 Stabilizer.
Approaching 30.
Stabilizer.
Not sure why we're getting that alarm. Everything is set.
Stabilizer.
We'll go to auto throttle on.
Stabilizer. Stabilizer.
And Miami traffic, Southeast Virtual 209er is reporting midfield downwind, Southeast Virtual Miami traffic.
Stabilizer. Stabilizer. Stabilizer.
Not sure why we're getting that.
Stabilizer.
V1. We rotate. Positive rate of climb. And the gear is going to come up. One section of flaps. We will now engage VNAV climb. Set throttles to climb.
Miami traffic, Southeast Virtual 209 is turning base runway 27. Base runway 27, about a 3 mile base.
We'll VNAV climb. As I say, she's a mad dog, so she pretty much nav track. So we're on course. So we do some cleanup. Lights out. The nose wheel. Disarm the flaps can now come up and slats.
Stabilizer motion.
Yeah, a bit bumpy getting out of Miami today. turning on course.
Miami traffic southeast virtual 209er and on a short final runway 27. Short final runway 27. Miami traffic.
So apparently that Southwest Virtual had a problem, probably simulated or unsimulated. He had to return to the airfield. So we're coming up on 10,000 feet, so we will track the wing landing lights, and we'll turn off all the wing lights, auxiliary lights. We will now put continuous ignition to off, and that's our 10,000 feet checklist. Now speeding up above 250 knots on a VNAV climb, and we are tracking the FMS or the RNAV departure out of Miami. So on our way up to our cruising level of flight level 280, which is 28,000 feet. So our next checklist would be to at 18,000 feet to standardize the altimeters. Legs page. This is our route. Coming up on 18,000. So 18,000 feet, we now go to standard barrel, 29902. 29902 here, and we'll check on the co-pilot side, 29902. There we go. So he's not asleep on the wheel. Heading down to the South Florida coast. We will turn just over the Keys and head in a south-southwesterly direction, which will put us just north of Cuba and down into Mexico. Weather is being provided by Active Sky XP. Not too much of a bad day flying out of Miami today. So once we get up to cruise level, for the purposes of the YouTube video, I will cut the stream for YouTube there, and then I will come back just before top of descent, and you all can see the descent profile into Cancun. So a couple of mistakes on the departure. We had on our electric hydraulic pumps. We did forget to put on the engine hydraulics, which are the hydraulics running off the engine. Probably that's why we were getting that alert of the stabilizer motion. So we got those in prior to liftoff. Now usually with an alarm like that, we would have stopped before V1 and investigated. But I think I had an idea what it was, and there was no need for alarm. So those are some of the mistakes that we make. Of course, if you had a co-pilot, he would have gone through the checklist and saw that we had those hydraulic pumps off. But it is what it is. At the end of the day, we want to have fun. This by no means is an instructional video. It's just a casual flight. Hello, that's the Keys, South Florida coast. And I would just like to make note that I have put the internal X-plane frame rate counter up. Just running a test today. We did clock our CPU up a little bit to see what the performance increase was, and there was a small performance increase with this aircraft, with this model aircraft, with all the texturing. At Miami on the ground, I would have been getting about 25 to 30 frames, and I noticed I was getting at least 10 frames more with the increase in CPU speed. So I have my CPU clocked up to about 4.5 gigahertz. Max it can get up to is about 4.6, but I did some testing yesterday and it was way too unstable. So we're trying it now at 4.5. Okay, for those watching the YouTube video, I will cut it off here. We are at level flight, and just before we do that, we will let the passengers have some room to move around. We'll put that into auto. We'll let the flight attendants know that they can move around the cabin. And this is us at flight level 280, Miami to Cancun. So for those on YouTube, I'll see you just before we head back down. Okay, so for purposes of the YouTube video, welcome back. We're at 20 miles from our top of descent. We should be heading down on the NOSAT 1 Alpha Star into Cancun. We would be doing the ILS approach for runway 12 left. The weather says the winds are 0105 knots, so we will be getting a slight crosswind from our left side. The no controllers on. We do have our charts for doing the opposite runway, just in case he comes on at the last minute. He would vector us around to the RNP runway 30. 7 miles visibility, so we should see the runway 7 miles out. From there we'll decide whether we will hand fly it in or we let the ILS system take us all the way down. That's yet to be seen, so let's see. So what we've done, we've reset our target altitude at ERDM at 3000. It will be managed down by the flight management system. I'll show you that now. So we'll start down just before NOSAT, and then we have some height restrictions here. Go to the next page. Height restrictions all the way down to ERDM, which is our target altitude. And of course we'll intercept the localizer at 3,000 feet, so we'll maintain 3,000 feet until we get down to runway 12 left. These are our go around settings. Hopefully we won't have to go around. We're 6 miles from top of descent, so we'll leave this in the leg page in case we have to go direct to. Transition altitude for Mexico is 18,500. So we will pick up the local barometer or altitude at Cancun once we pass 18,500. And the local barometer is 3000. There we go. The flight management system has picked up the change, our top of descent, and we are heading down. Now, because it's an old aircraft and it's not as sophisticated as the 737's new generation or the new aircraft that are out there, we may have to help her to get down and to slow down as well. So let's see how it goes. They aren't called mad dogs for no reason. Sometimes they tend to do their own thing. So we're now turning at Nosat onto the Star. Time to tell the passengers in the back to get seated. So we are on a VNAV descent. So VNAV is vertical navigation, so which means up and down. And nav track, well, for this airplane it's called nav track, but we are on the LNAV, and the LNAV is left and right navigation. So we are following these waypoints in the sky, or route in the sky, and that's our LNAV. MCP is set to 3000, and the FMS, or the flight management system, through the auto throttle, is managing our engine performance. So the engines are pulled all the way back to idle for the descent. Checking on the VATSIM system, there's no one in Cancun. Usually we'll make our announcements on our way down. No need for that today. Weather is being updated by Active Sky XP. It does get updated every 15 minutes. Sorry for the little flicker in the screen. It happens when I tab out to my second monitor to check charts and whatnot. So just bear with me with that. I haven't found a way to get rid of that. If you all have any suggestions on how to do that, please feel free to post it in the comments or in the suggestion box for the live Twitch stream or on YouTube in the comments below. If you like my videos, please don't hesitate to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. This is casual flying. We don't get deeply into programming of the FMS system or all this aircraft systems. We tend to do all of that before the flight. But again, if you all want me to do that, there's so many other YouTube videos, great YouTubers out there that have done these videos before for each of these aircraft. If you all still want me to do it, that's not a problem, I can do it. Just post it in the comments or the suggestion box below. So 18,500, and we will now reset our altimeter to 3,000. Set, alternate set, and the co-pilot isn't sleeping on himself, he set his. Very good. So our approach speeds have been set based on the descent profile. So here we have flap extension, and then our VREF will be around 135 knots. We can check that, double check that here. So it's a lot lower than that. So 28 at flaps 28, VREF is 123, flaps 40, 190. We will go to flaps 28, 123. We don't need to go to 40. It's a nice long runway. We'd only use flaps 40 if it's a short runway and we need to slow down and come in as slow as possible. So flaps 28, 123 knots is our VREF. So she is managing her speed going down quite nicely. 250 knots set at the MCP, and we're holding 250 knots indicated. So. Okay, so we now have new speed restrictions, so we will help her to slow down. Yeah, spoilers have been extended. Time to extend first stage of slats. We'll extend that. Coming up on 10,000. So at 10,000 feet, we're lights on, so we'll extend our wing landing lights, and we'll put engine ignition to continuous for both. feet. Standing lights. Wing lights on. Engine ignition to continuous, both indicated. We have an auto brake system here. We won't be using that today. As I say, it's a nice long runway. So we will engage the reversers. These are the reverse indicators here. Get down to 80 knots and then we'll manually brake. Cancun dead ahead. We'll take the speed over now, slow it down some more. Clouds are blocking us from seeing the runway, but it's over here to the left somewhere. Alright, there's the airport. So at this point in time we're on a left downwind for runway 12 left. That sound is the spoilers, we've extended them a little bit, so help the airplane to slow down. Bleed off some of that speed. And we now go to 11 flaps. Flaps coming down. slow down further. We don't want to be too fast into the turn. And coming up on Erdam. Expand the map. Pilots actually in real life have to do that to look over the yoke to see the display. So we will do our final check here. Ignition to both. Landing lights on. Wing lights and indicator lights on. Your damper is armed. And let them know that we're about to land. The flight attendants to be seated. Coming up on 3000. Now we want to set this to 3000. So the aircraft will depressurize. At 3000. Erdam. Good. So we're going to start to turn on course. Nav radio 1 to the ILS. Click into the ILS. And we can slow up some more. Here comes flaps 15. So the ILS system is engaged, so we want to lock onto the localizer. Once we start to see it come in. And we can slow it down to about 160 knots. Course. Lock in the VOR. Tracking the localizer. It's coming back in. And we have the approach. And we're tracking the glide slope down. At this point in time, the gear can come out. And there is runway 12 left ahead of us. Slow it down to 140. Don't want to get too slow with this plane because she likes speed. So still on profile. Feet. 28 flaps coming in. It's our final flap position. Bit hazy, hence the 7 square miles of visibility. Alright, so we'll turn the auto throttle off, manage to power ourselves, and I think the autopilot can come off.
Autopilot.
Autopilot is off.
1,000.
So the good pilot is off and the dumb pilot is on. See if we can grease it this time. We didn't do a very good job yesterday, but let's see if we can do it this time. As I said, we have a slight crosswind. So we are crabbing a little bit to the left.
Approaching 12 left.
Feet. Check.
400. 300. Minimums
continuing. Getting blown around there a little bit.
100.
Coming in a little high, but that's okay. We have a long runway.
50, 40, 30, 20.
Long landing.
10.
Yep, that's a long landing.
10.
7,000 feet remaining. 5,000 remaining. 4,000 remaining.
80 knots. Manual braking. And taxi off here. We came in a little too fast and a little too high this time. Landing lights off, strobes off. Oops, wrong one. And start pump for the APU to come on. We'll fire up the APU. Flaps can come up to 11. And we will taxi to the ramp. Electric hydraulic pumps can come on now. Won't forget that this time. Flight directors can come off. Continuous ignition can come off. Everything else looks good. Well, the wheels are still there, so as we say in the aviation industry, any landing you can walk away from is a good landing. So now the radar can come off. We don't want to radiate anybody on the ground. It's a GA parking area. We'll be going over to the right hand side on the terminals. Flaps going to come up on slats. Landing lights can, taxi light can come off. Okay, here we go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Cancun. So let's do our engine shutdown. I have two controllers here on my Cytex, so I'll just pull the fuel levers back. Fuel to cut off. Fuel pumps off. Oops, yep. There we go. And we can turn the seatbelt signs off. Let passengers come off. We'll turn off the beacon so that the ground services know that they can come in and service the aircraft. And we'll open the doors. Nope. And we'll open the cargo doors. And we'll have a little step outside and have a look at it. So there we are, Miami to Cancun. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a thumbs up if you like. If you don't like, no worries. Any suggestions, comments, and thanks a lot, Rolla, for the nice job. I don't know what did the landing rate pop up as. I don't see it until I review the video. But what was the minus number sign? How many feet per minute? Did you see it? And So we will cut off here for YouTube, and thanks for watching. I look forward to seeing you all again on the next live stream.